need to verify some information. That's all.
Sure. Let's do it.
Splendid. Splendid. Now, let's see.
What's up, everybody? Let's get back into some Fallout 4. A few of you had asked about the DLCs. Thought we'd go check them out. Created this character for the new survival mode. Some of you may recognize her from my run and gun build video. Same character, same starting stats. Others may recognize her from our streams here. We stream here on YouTube every Sunday evening, and we stream on Twitch throughout most of the rest of the week. Almost always Wednesday through Saturday, and sometimes even Monday and Tuesday evenings also. So we stream pretty regular. It'd be cool if you all want to come hang out. That's always a lot of fun. Even when there's just a few of us, we talk about all the RPG stuff and then rant about politics and you name it. Anyway, I will name this character Sarah. And we will go ahead and get started. We will pick up around level 47, I believe.
Wonderful. That's everything. Just gonna walk this over to the vault. Congratulations on being prepared for the future.
Thanks again.
And here we are in Diamond City. This is some of the equipment that I've collected thus far. Like I say, you may recognize this from my run and gun build video. Basically same footage, getting ready for this DLC. It was kind of a twofold thing. I wanted to do the build, but I also wanted to go check out the Mechanist and Far Harbor and all that stuff. New survival mode has been an adventure of sorts. Try not to do too much ranting about that. Eat, drink, sleep, eat, drink. On a very short, tight schedule, yes. But go ahead and take a look at some of the perks and stuff like that. As far as gear goes so far with this character, wasn't real lucky on finding a lot of the Sprinter's gear in leather. I'm a huge leather armor fan. It's just what I like, and that's just the way it is. I did find some metal pieces, even some synth pieces, which offered Sprinter's gear, which is essentially you take less damage while blocking and sprinting, which is kind of what this build is built around. Kind of the opposite of the rooted build, where as long as you're standing still, you take less damage. This is as long as you're on the move. And this gives you a lot of getaway ability and dashing from cover to cover and so on and so forth. Still don't know that you can necessarily take a mini nuke to the face even when sprinting, but you can take a bit more damage, and the amount of stamina or AP that you have when sprinting is just kind of ridiculous. The build's been a bit more tanky than what I'm used to. I guess especially because of that. When I need to run and get away, I can do so. It's been nice, but you'll see. You'll see. We get to do some running around here. As per usual, I have everything shadowed. Sneak still plays a huge part in pretty much any build. In Fallout, at some point, you're usually going to utilize some form of sneak. Nothing else for the damage modifiers for sneak attacks. But also sometimes just to get through areas where sometimes you just want to get from point A to point B. I don't mind fighting, but every once in a while you just want to get home and catch some rest.
With a message for Nick's partner. We've got a new case and it sounds urgent.
You that trader?
Stop by the
Up
office.
from Quincy?
I'll be waiting. Setting this to repeat.
Okay, now I believe listening to that, Valentine's Detective Agency radio starts the Far Harbor DLC. Find out here in a second.
We got a new case while you and Nick were out. Ready to put on the detective hat?
Who's our client?
A fisherman whose family lives on the edge of the Commonwealth. Kenji Nakano.
Nakano? Huh. That name takes me back. My memory's a little fuzzy on the details, though.
Maybe if you bothered writing things down, Nick.
Can't do that. Wouldn't want to put you out of a job.
Huh. I'll remember that the next time you need me to console a hysterical client. Mr. Nakano didn't leave many details. Said he'd go over everything when you meet him. But if you want my guess, missing person case. Guy had a worried look a mile long.
Anything you can tell me about Kenji Nakano?
Just some impressions. He was obviously upset, but he was also in a hurry, like he couldn't stand just waiting around. I'm a friend of Nick's. He'll remember me. I need his help right away. And then he was gone. He was muttering something on the way out, but no. I'm not sure it was important.
Come on, Ellie. Don't hold out on me. What did he say?
Well, I thought I heard him say something about a daughter and also a radio, but I might have misheard him. Not sure how the two would be connected.
I'll go check it out. Thanks, Ellie.
The Nakano residence is up in the northeast, near the coast. A small fishing house. He said that he and his wife will be waiting for you.
It's a long walk. That's how the hard cases always start.
For those of you not familiar with new survival mode, no fast travel. The closest thing you get to fast travel is the smoke grenades you get with the Brotherhood of Steel, which do come in handy, especially when you're doing Brotherhood of Steel missions. Little side stuff, escorting their scribes and things. Yeah, getting from point A to point B. It's really cool, and the rides you get to take in the vertibirds are actually kind of nice. Get on the minigun and spray downtown Boston if you want to, or just go for the ride and check out the sights. It's almost therapeutic. When you've been running and gunning for hours and you just want to take a break for a second, just catch a ride in the vertibird and get up there with the birds in the clouds and just kick back, and pretty nice. But I am out of grenades right now. Boy, when he said a long walk, he wasn't kidding. That's about as far at the edge of the map as you can possibly get, I think.
Everyone wants a piece of what I got.
Hey, Cricket.
Better buy my big guns now, because you bet your ass your enemies will.
Let's see what you have.
Just think how damn good it'll feel holding one of these.
Now, since this build is kind of dedicated to automatic weapons, run through some ammo. And on new survival mode, ammo has weight for one, and it just seems to be rare.
That's right.
I have had my fair share of running out of ammo, even with the Scrounger perk. I've done a bit of running out. And I know I've heard of the demo build, where basically you get the spray and pray, and you build up your automatic weapon perks and then your explosives perks, and of course they stack, and then you save a lot of ammo by just blowing everything up. You don't even have to aim. But that kind of defeats the whole purpose of this particular build, and the whole reason I play it is to take advantage of the aim down the sights feature, the shooting mechanics, which are vastly improved in this game. In fact, I would go so far to say that if you treat Fallout 4 as just a pure shooter, not really an RPG, but just a shooter, it's actually a really good one. Really is. Now, from an RPG aspect, we've had some really lengthy discussions on stream and elsewhere about that. It's lacking a lot of areas, and the survival mode doesn't do a lot for that, in my opinion. I think it introduces more, to be fair, tedium and work than it does an immersive quality. In fact, I think it accomplishes just the opposite. It tends to pull me out of the game. Oh my gosh, I gotta use these. Oh, now I have to sleep. Once I sleep, oh, now I'm sick, so I gotta use that again. Now I'm thirsty, so I gotta drink. Oh, now I'm hungry, and go through this loop of just consuming. I can just imagine my character just standing there with a syringe in one arm, the food in one hand, a six-pack of water in the other, and just munching, smacking, shooting up, consuming, slurping, just this endless cycle of consuming, and it can take up, oh geez, sometimes half your gameplay doing that. If you want to stay from being seriously debuffed. Now the debuffs from survival mode are severe, and I'm down with that. I like that. I like the idea of being tired and being hungry and so on and so forth. I think New Vegas kind of got it right, to be honest. I think they went a little overboard here with Fallout 4, and I'm being kind when I say that. I'll just say that and kind of leave it at that. They went a little bit overboard in terms of you can sit there and constantly just run through all of your supplies, and every supply that you use requires you to use more supplies, which in turn requires you to use more supplies. And then after all that's said and done, there are times when you sleep and it makes you tired, and you require sleep because you slept specifically. So yeah. Anyways, maybe some balancing issues and stuff. I can't believe they tested it before they released it. But it is what it is. But from the gameplay perspective, outside of that, when it comes to just like pure combat, how does it affect, enemies and, damage resistance and all that stuff? Headshots appear to get extensively more damage. You can one-shot a lot of enemies with headshots, even with an automatic weapon, where you do less damage per shot. It's still effective. So that is one plus. Enemies aren't quite as tanky overall as old survival mode. They don't seem to have as many hit points, or else I'm just doing increased damage, something. Anyway, however that plays out. But they tend to get heads. They tend to be a little more accurate sometimes, it seems like. And I think a lot of times where my character's been 1 or 2 shotted by enemies, I think they're getting headshots also, which is fair. And I dig that. I'm down with that. But notice there, see, that wasn't even a headshot. That was a simple sneak attack with nothing fancy about this pistol. I believe this one in particular does like 10 extra points of energy damage, fire damage or something, plasma damage, whatever. Which is nice. It's a decent upgrade. But to nothing real spectacular. Not like an instigating pistol that does double damage to enemies in full health. You know, that's huge. This isn't quite that This isn't quite that big, but it works. Been having a good time with it. I like the ability to incorporate sneak when you want to, be able to run and gun when you want to. And the key with this build is to be able to sprint and avoid a lot of damage when doing so. Right? To get from cover to cover, utilize your cover, running and gunning, you know, just out there playing, not relying on VATS to get your damage or to aim for you, but, you know, treating it like something as a shooter. It is fun that way. The way I like to play anyway. VATS has its uses at times. Like when a dog's running by at your feet and you can barely keep up with them, trying to turn with your character, aiming down your sights or whatever, then just use VATS. Mole rats popping in and out of the ground and stuff being annoying. Sure, stuff like that. Use VATS for that all the time. When it comes to me and a pack of raiders, just getting in there and being able to aim down my sights and shoot properly. It's something I thought was severely lacking in previous Fallout games, so it's really nice to have that. It's been a while since we did our original playthrough, our original character. Big reason you're seeing a new character here is just simply so we could stream some, check out the new survival mode. Really just wanted to see it. Did quite a bit of streaming with it, not just this character, but another one, the same one we did our VATS pistol build with. Oh, if I didn't have to reload, this guy would already be dead. There we go. You don't see me? This thing is really accurate. Automatic pipe gun is amazing. Nothing special about this gun. It's just max range, silenced, a drum clip, quick reload. Of course, I also have the fast hands, whatever that's called, under the agility perk. I put 1 point into that. I don't care about the one that makes it to where it doesn't cost any VATS points. That's not my concern. But just being able to quick reload on top of a quick eject mad, oh man, you're ready to fire again. And that is sometimes actually a lifesaver. That perk is really, really worth taking. Drop anything good? Deadeye hunting rifle. Time slows down for a moment while aiming. Huh. Call that getting in the zone. So you can essentially stay on permajet as long as you're aiming in and out of your sights with that gun. Yeah, some things are a bit, I don't know, OP. I do try to limit that a little bit. If I find a good solid weapon, then the stat needs to fit specifically into what I'm doing. With some exceptions, like that whole thing with the whatchamacallit. The demo build, as it was told to me, that's what it's called, where you get an automatic weapon like this, and then you find an explosive full auto, like, you know, spray and pray, and then you put all your perks into Demolition Expert, and then of course into automatic weapons, and there you go. You're 2 and 3 shotting everything in the game. What's this? Reduce damage while blocking or sprinting. There you go. Cavaliers. I've seen it called sprinters too, I believe. But be that as it may, I'm not a fan of the metal, and I'm not a fan of the synth pieces, and I've even found a combat armor piece or two, which I did consider using. Combat armor, it looks okay, but I'm still a huge fan of leather. I just got my full leather set. It's light. It looks sleek. It looks cool when it's shadowed. I'm a fan, so I'm running with that. Got a hell of a firefight going on here. Servo. Okay. Oh, this is Mechanist stuff. All right. So new robots are introduced into the Commonwealth. They're always running around, having it out with somebody. Typically me. Bam. Yeah, they're going after it, all right. Let's see if I needed to go. If all of them just beamed in on me and I was catching lasers to the face and stuff, I could sprint up out of here and take much, much less damage. And sprint for a long time. I have a lot of action points. How many robots we got? Damn. This is crazy.
Made it. This time.
Here you go, buddy. And you have to stim your companions now. Or else, if you leave the area, or if they're in a room and you leave that room, like say you go through a loading door, they'll go back to either the last place that you picked them up from, like say Sanctuary or something, or I believe it may also give you an option on which settlement to send them to, but you essentially have to go back on foot to that settlement to pick them up again, if you want them with you. What did he do? Kill himself? Made it through all that and then turned around and killed himself? Wow.
My friends did not survive the attack. Thank you for assisting. I was certain to meet my end here as well.
Are you okay?
Physically, the damage is minor, but I am registering sadness and anger at the loss of my friends. It may sound strange coming from a robot, but they were my family. Again, I thank you for your efforts. I know they would have thanked you as well.
What kind of robot are you?
I am heavily modified, but at my core, I am an Assaultron. My name is Ada. This was the third time we've been attacked by robots like these. Even with the weapon and detection upgrades Jackson gave me, I was unable to defend them.
Who's Jackson?
Jackson was the leader of this caravan. He had a great mind for technology. In many ways, he is my creator. He installed all my current upgrades. Unfortunately, they were not enough to protect them from the robots.
You're upgraded?
Yes, modified using a robot workbench based on prototype schematics. The workbench allows for a wide range of robot modifications. Perhaps if I had more sentry bot-based defenses, I could have successfully defended my friends against those robots.
They must be targeting you for some reason.
Probability is high that I am part of that reason. Besides myself, Jackson also created Turing, Hertz, and Porter. Our built-in modifications would be desired pieces of salvage. We knew we ran the risk of encountering more of these hostile robots if we stayed in the Commonwealth. If only we had made the decision to leave.
So why did you end up staying?
Our caravan specialized in mechanical repairs and trade. The Commonwealth has an abundance of salvage that would benefit our business. It was a calculated risk.
You couldn't have known something like this would happen.
The probability of attack was high. I should have forced our departure. In recompense, I will seek justice for my friends and stop these robots from causing further harm. It's time to uncover the source and confront their leader, the Mechanist.
Oh no.
Who's the Mechanist?
The only information I have comes from the iBot broadcasts. The false claims of peace and justice. The only certainty is that these robots bring only death. You have shown willingness to aid others. I ask that you please assist me in stopping this Mechanist. In return, I can give you the schematics to build your own robot workbench, so you have additional resources in this undertaking.
You want revenge, don't you?
I admit my goal is twofold. Stopping the Mechanist both protects the Commonwealth and allows me to avenge my fallen friends. I won't rest until I see this threat dissolved. I owe it to them. Now, we last saw a group of the Mechanist robots at the General Atomics factory. You may find information there that will lead us to the Mechanist. I will follow and assist with your permission.
Yeah. Let's go, Ada.
General Atomics has valuable salvage. Chances are high the robots are still there.
Okay, I guess I'm starting the Mechanist DLC right now. Okay, that's cool. I wasn't sure that we'd even get into it. I didn't know if it was just basically some items added to the world or if there was an actual story involved. Apparently there's a story to it. So sure, we'd check that out. I was kind of headed to see what was up with the whole, well, I don't know, the kid in the radio and whatever Nick was talking about. The Far Harbor stuff. I wanted to get that started, but hey, no hurry, right?
If you find any spare parts, you be sure and let me
It's not
know.
like I have anything better to do than find my kidnapped son or anything. I mean, I'm down with going and finding someone else's kid first. Right. So I get a new companion. Well, I have dog meat sent to a place that I will pass along the way to when I do go to towards wherever we're starting. Far Harbor. I want to take the dog with me. That's what it shows in the ad for the DLC itself. It shows you and Dogmeat on a boat headed towards, I don't know, some stormy island or something. Anyway, so I will take him with me, and it still allows me to take advantage of the Lone Wanderer perk, which is it's really big with this build. In fact, survival mode, I would say it's designed for Lone Wanderer. For you to just go it alone or with your dog. Gotta have your dog along sometimes.
Hey.
What can I do for you?
Yeah, the reduced damage, the massive amount of extra carry weight. Seeing as something tells me I'm going to need these parts for her, then I think we'll go ahead and let her carry all that. I'm assuming being a robot, she can carry quite a bit of stuff. Yeah, the thing weighs 8 pounds. That's crazy.
We ran into some hostile robots today. They were pieced together, like the ones we've been making in that workbench. Weird thing is, one of them was spouting something about the Mechanist. That they're here to protect the Commonwealth. Yeah, protected my ass. We managed to lose them. Those things were dangerous. Shades and I went back and picked up an arm we shot off. Whoever's making these things is an expert. Maybe even beyond my level. I'll have to look into upgrading Ada and hers for some better protection.
If you see me pick up a lot of guns, especially ones that require 38 and 10mm ammo, and then drop them again, if you pick up guns, I thought it was any gun that you picked up. You got the ammo from its clip, but I think it's only guns that you pick up off of dead bodies. But still, it's a good way to get a little bit of extra ammo here and there. It adds up, especially if you're fighting super mutants and you're picking up 38 based weapons that have drum clips in them. That's like 50 rounds you get each time you pick up one of their guns, along with whatever other ammo they might be carrying. Uh-oh, we may have run into it here. Alright, if you want to fight, I'll give you one.
I've lost sight of my target.
One thing I have to say about the single-shot pistol build is even when not in sneak, it's still significant. Damage is nice. I would say if I were to come up with the ideal build, I would call this the ideal build as far as just playing through the game. If you want to run with automatic weapons, the way I started with the special stats in this, I was really pleased with the options it gave me to have a high enough charisma to pass speech checks, to do settlement building, send my, supply caravans, hook up all my settlements, stuff like that, do all that, build shops if I want to, all the good stuff. And have a few extra points of endurance, give a little extra health, although it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference on survival mode, it doesn't really seem like. But still, for those who feel comfortable with a few extra points of endurance, it allows for that. And if you don't need that, you can throw that point into other things. If you want intelligence-based stuff, if you want to run with some energy weapons, like, say, or who knows what. Anyway, it leaves a lot of variables in there for you to mix and match the way you want it. But this particular start right here really unlocks everything I might need to do. And the key is really not worrying about criticals, not trying to buff criticals through the luck stat. Not putting those points in luck leaves a lot of points for other stuff elsewhere. Anything extra you might want in agility. Charisma, all that good stuff. Maybe even some strength perks.
You're here. Stop hiding.
But I would say if I wanted to optimize this, I would run with single shot pistols. Just because it's more damage per actual shot, and there's things you can do and things you can find to make each shot count a little bit better. One burst from sneak usually does about the same as a bullet with a single shot, but single shot, even in open combat where you're not hidden and enemies know damn well you're right there in front of their face, it seems to be a little more effective overall. If you can get those single shots off. Also, if you're taking single shots, you're probably taking a little more care to try for headshots too. It's a huge damage modifier for headshots. I don't know what the exact number is, what the multiplier is, but it's pretty impressive. I've surprised myself one-shotting some enemies with headshots that I'm like, I remember old survival mode, I might have had to pull off 15, 20 headshots on that same enemy, it seemed like. So, good stuff. Well, I hadn't planned on exploring this whole building, but you know what? It's been kind of worth it. Found some ammo, found some stuff. Yeah, that's probably one elevator I'm not going to be taking down right there. Look at the view. I love the sound of the wind whistling past. That's one cool thing I thought has been kind of overlooked in Fallout 4 is the above ground map. The freeway overpasses and the skyscraper tops. And sometimes, the super mutants and raiders have built like ramps and platforms between like the freeways and buildings that have tipped over and stuff like that. Very cool. There's almost a whole second map above ground. Kind of like in Fallout 3 how you had the subways below ground, which are still my favorite to this day. But this is still pretty cool. There's some places downtown where you can go for miles. I mean, it seems like you can just go forever, hopping from building to freeway to back to building again, and then going through one building, coming out the other side, jumping back on another freeway overpass, and just keep going. Very cool. Sorry about this. I'm trying to find Ada. I think I heard her fall, but I'm not getting a little notification to say to heal her. Most of the time the game does, it gives you what looks like a little quest marker and it says heal your follower.
I should be able to resume my duties immediately.
Is that her? Yeah, there she is. Yep, repair Ada. Basically a robot stim pack, right? Well, we will follow Ada's leads and all that, but I think the first order of business is to get someplace where I can stock up, heal up, get some rest. Sleep is a huge issue. The day-night cycles are really short. You get tired about every 8 hours or so, which in-game hours is about every 10 minutes. which leaves you about 5 minutes to explore, with 2 or 3 minutes of that spent consuming stuff. So you get about 2 minutes of actual gameplay. And you spend the other 7-8 minutes out of every 10 minutes buffing yourself, or feeding yourself, or sleeping again because you got tired from sleeping, or something. And I told myself I wouldn't harp on that, but yeah, it was a good concept. I think the execution is lacking in some ways. Some would probably argue with me to their grave. Oh man, survival mode is the best thing that ever happened to Fallout 4, and I can't live without it. And you know what? That's great. That is completely awesome. And as far as the concept goes, I would give them kudos for the idea. But I think trying to improve upon something that wasn't broken, like the survival mode from New Vegas, no reason they couldn't have just taken that same formula and applied it here. You know, if you want to add a few bells and whistles like diseases, that's fine. But everything shouldn't cause a disease, even taking a simple 1-hour nap. When your day-night cycle requires you to use so many materials, so much stuff. The hell's Rust Devil? Anything like a Dust Devil? I wouldn't want to let them get a bunch of shots off on me. I say Bats does have its purpose sometimes. Something ambushes you and jumps out in your face. You tell her, Ada. But you know what? It's the challenge that's before us, so we're just going to deal with it. That's really what it boils down to. Either deal with it or don't. In case anyone from Bethesda's listening, we did have, when I say it's kind of surprised that they had anyone test this, it seems impossible that someone didn't mention a few simple things that really stick out in the gameplay. And that's, well, the length of the day-night cycle, and since altering that would probably require altering the entire game and everything, instead of that, either lessen the debuffs that you suffer over short periods of time, instead of taking like 2 points of endurance and 2 points of strength and, you know, reducing your AP refresh by 50% after just not sleeping for 5 minutes. Maybe cut that down a little bit or something. And I'm not saying, oh, you know, the penalties are too stiff. I'm saying they come too quickly. And so altering the time probably isn't feasible. Then alter the penalties or something. You know, just balance it a little bit. Just some thoughts. Or make the initial hunger and thirst thing not a penalty, but more of a warning type of thing to let you know that it's time to eat. It's probably time to find a place to sleep and stuff. Not that first penalty just slap the shit out of you. You go from walking along just fine to all of a sudden having the plague instantly. That's maybe find a little gray area in between there. And I could stop right here in Good Neighbor. There's nothing I really need to do here. I'm kind of on a mission, so why don't we get to the castle? In fact, the castle doesn't seem too far from where we're headed anyway. Sounds like a good idea. Oh, noodle cups are like the best thing that ever happened in survival mode 2, because they hydrate you and feed you at the same time. They're a wonderful thing. I mean, live off ramen, right? What could be better? I've done a bunch of clearing down here already, going back and forth with Paladin Dance and so on and so forth. Done some Brotherhood stuff. I was essentially, 1, trying to level, and 2, trying to get some companion perks. Oh, FYI, I do have the perk from Preston Garvey. Ran around with him for a while, and that gives, I believe it's plus 20% damage bonus and resistance when you're outnumbered, which of course if you're running Lone Wanderer, that's most of the time. Very seldom do you run into just one enemy at a time. Usually it's a pack of ghouls or a pack of raiders or mutants or whatever. And then I have the perk from Codsworth, believe it or not, and I think that's, you take like 10% less damage from robots or something. And it's nice, a little defensive buff. Don't know if it applies all the time. I've learned to be pretty wary of the Brotherhood vertibirds flying overhead. They like to go down a lot because they don't fight very well. And they don't really take any damage. Honestly, a ghoul slapping towards a vertibird from the ground can knock a vertibird down. That makes no sense, but I've seen it happen. Or it sure seems like what happened. Anyway, well, when those vertibirds land, they go off like a nuke, and if you're anywhere nearby, they will kill you. I'm sure all of us have experienced that at least once. At exactly the wrong moment type of thing. Oh, we got a turret up there. Of course, why don't I just stand out in the open like an idiot? This acts as something of my sniper. This thing is so accurate, it's ridiculous. It's got a decent fire rate. It's stable. It doesn't kick a whole lot like the submachine guns. You know, the actual submachine guns. Those things seem to be all over the map when you fire them. They got a huge fire rate. They're really quick, but low damage, and they're not stable at all. These things are just rock steady. I really do like these pipe guns. Oops, sorry about that. My clip ended. Well, just so you know, the grenade went off. Ooh, bloody mess. Got to love it. Okay, I don't need to shoot him or her. Ada's talking smack to somebody. Well, I guess she'll go kill him, or not. This isn't the time to lose her right here. I don't know what settlement she would get sent to, for one. And I certainly don't want to do a whole bunch of backtracking. We're almost there. Might as well discover a few places along the way. Alright, I think we're clear. And you know what? There you go. That beeping was about to kill me. I'm really hoping Ada's keeping up with me. I don't know. Companions, well, do tend to get lost, right? And speaking of the Brotherhood of Steel, one recommendation, unless it's just your thing and it's the very first thing you ever do when you play type of thing, which I get that. We can be creatures of habits as RPG players, where there's certain things that we always do in a particular game, especially once we've played it for a while. Certain items we go for, certain things we do, certain people we look for to either have as companions or to interact with or whatever. I get it, but introducing these vertibirds into downtown when you're trying to play, it's already frozen my game a couple times, just completely hard froze it, sent it to blue screen error a couple times, and caused a severe frame rate loss and lag, and times where I thought it was going to freeze. I swore it was. I'm thinking, and it really starts around the time that you get to the point in the story mission where you kill Kellogg, and then you come out of the, Fort Hagen? And, of course, the big, the Prigwin, the big dirigible comes flying by, telling everybody not to fear. They're only there with mini nukes and vertibirds to be nice to people, and all that line of bullshit. Yeah, about that time is when it really starts going down, and next thing you know, your frame rate drops to that of a potato about every 30 seconds, because there's a vertibird flying by trying to get itself killed. It's like I say, the things can't fight worth a shit. They're constantly getting knocked out of the air, and half the time they come flying directly at you when they do, and blow you up. Yeah, that does you, like, no favors. I would strongly recommend, especially if going to do, say, the meat of the game is contrary to the story, and this is a big issue with some players, but stay away from the main storyline and going to actually find your son. Stay away from that. Because, like I say, this is the time where sprint comes handy. Getting out of the way so you don't get one-shotted by some stupid robot while trying to find cover or something. Scrap bots. Okay, these guys actually have health. Damage-wise, I'm not sure if they do much more or less than others, but they can actually take some damage. Well, just die, dude. And please don't go off like a nuke. But yeah, just I would stay away from that and not get the Brotherhood of Steel activated. For the simple reason that they're going to cause problems. Well, at least that's been my experience. They've caused some serious problems with lag and freezing and stuff like that. I'm blaming the vertibirds, because it's always when 2 or 3 vertibirds come in, they're going to attack a mutant settlement or some raiders, or they're firing at some ghouls and they're getting themselves knocked out of the sky and so on and so forth. All of a sudden I can't play. Not cool.
Open fire!
I did think of an entirely new beginning of the game, and I'm actually kind of proud of it. I'm certainly no writer, and I couldn't ever work for one of these video game companies. Couldn't do what they do. Don't claim that type of professionalism or expertise, but I did have an idea which, if it were implemented, I think would just, well, it would fix a lot of things as far as the story goes. It would close up a lot of the gaps and holes in the story, which there are a lot. And the more, it's one of those things, the more you think about it and the more your mental workarounds kind of fall short, the more holes become evident, and they just seem to kind of stack. And in hindsight, there's some issues. But I actually have a fix. I don't know, maybe somebody in the modding community could implement something like this. I'm not saying go by my blueprint, but it is, I believe, a good idea. Everyone I've run it across thought it was a good idea, so the general consensus seems to be that it's a good plan. But I will try to talk to you guys in depth about that in the next video. We're almost to the castle here. I don't want to get started on all that, but it's a basic idea for the beginning of the game which would put everything in a perspective that would make more sense, and would not require the in-depth RPG player, the one who actually thinks for him or herself, to make so many mental workarounds and make excuses for the game as to make sense of why you're doing this and not doing that. Like, one of the most prevalent one is the big hole in the story is, if your son is so important to you, why is it the last thing you do? Behind getting mute fruits and collecting weapon mods and establishing settlement and doing all this other stuff. My initial mental workaround was that, well, if you're going to go find your son, you've got to have a commonwealth worth living in. So there is an excuse to do good things for your neighbor and establish something of a home for yourself. That makes sense, right? To an extent, but still never ever getting around to ever getting on the trail. And then, once again, bringing this in, almost having... Now, I know this is a technical thing, not a story hole, but it's still an issue, is having to work around even introducing the Brotherhood of Steel into your game to prevent frame rate lag and gameplay issues, making the game almost unplayable sometimes. So, anyway, besides all that, I do have what I believe is something of a fix for the beginning of the story, and I think it's something that can actually be implemented in the game. So I'll get into that, something to look forward to. If nothing else, a plug for my next video to entice you guys to come back and check it out, right? I'm not above that. I have no shame. All right. Let me have your stuff. Hopefully ammo. Well, the Scrounger perk is great, but you don't always pick up the ammo you're using. When you're using just 1 or 2 particular ammo types, which is strongly suggested on this new survival mode, well, all that other stuff doesn't really come in handy much. Although, I could say if I was sniping, my experience has been I've picked up a lot more 50 and 308 ammo than normal. Those numbers have gone up, the amount of that type of ammo that I find. I need to talk to Preston anyway, so we're right here. That's actually a good deal. Turn in a quest real quick, and then I'm going to derad, eat, drink, buff, debuff, whatever you want to call it. Do a little buying, selling if I can.
Got anything else for me, Garvey?
I'll let you know if I hear of any settlements that need our help. In the meantime, make sure to offer help to anyone that needs it. That can only help our cause.
Okay, well, I know Radio Freedom is on, so if there is anything else to do, it'll be there to do it. All right, thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe, you can click that button up top. If you want to catch the rest of the Fallout 4 playthrough, you can click that image in the middle. Appreciate you all hanging out. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.